Okay. Yeah, well, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Megan Graham, and today I have a very special guest on, my functional practitioner. Her name is Kristen Blake from Kristen Blake Wellness, and I wanted to bring Kristen on today to talk a little bit about the testing that she does and about what she does in her practice, because one of the mistakes that I made in my health was not testing and trying to treat without testing, which is basically like playing whack-a-mole. It's never going to be helpful. So Kristen, welcome. And I would love to hear a little bit about you and Kristen Blake Wellness and what your mission is.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I first and foremost was a patient. I used to be really, really sick back in the day, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. I went to doctors and they would say, well, you just get sick a lot and it's a virus and it's a cold and we don't know. And just nobody was really getting to the bottom of it. And that's what led me on the health journey that I then went on, where I figured out, okay, I've got to take this into my own hands and I need to investigate. And I started researching, and long story short, it turned out I had Lyme disease and mold illness. And then that led to POTS and SIBO and MCAS and all the things. So I had all the letters. And I was around that same time introduced to the power of nutrition. My husband was playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, and they had just hired a nutritionist and doctor that was amazing. And so she started working with the guys and the families on our nutrition. I started feeling better, and I was like, this is incredible. So I ended up going back to school and got certified as a health coach from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Then I went on to get Master's of Science in Clinical Nutrition and Human Performance. I was also certified in the autoimmune protocol because I had autoimmune disease sprinkled in there as well, and various other certifications. And in the beginning, I was doing it just for myself. I wanted to learn how to take my health back, feel better, help my family, and realized along the way I was really good at it. Everyone was asking me, like, what are you doing and how are you fixing this? And you were bedridden, now you're better, and what's going on? And can you help me? I want help. So I opened my practice years ago, and it's just really grown ever since to, where I am today, where my mission is to educate and empower on the root causes of health and how can we figure out what is off in your body and use diet and lifestyle and supplements and labs to help you put your body back into balance, because our bodies are so smart and they can do so much, but these things get in the way, whether it's toxins or parasites or mold or whatever, and we need to get them out of the way and start bringing our body back into balance. So now I have a team of practitioners that work with me. I have an RN and an RD and some health coaches, and we all work together on helping people really optimize their health.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And I can say from experience that you are really good at what you do. So you're not the only one saying that you're good at what you do. Would you consider your services to be beneficial for not only people that have chronic illness, but also for people that don't have chronic illness as well?
Yeah, 100%. I'm so glad you asked that question. And there's always something that we can do more and we can optimize. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is to help somebody that feels pretty good take their health to that next level where they're really setting themselves up for success for the long term. So we currently have a long lifespan, but we have a very short health span. So we are 80 years old, wandering around just feeling terrible. And that's not what I want for people. So I want to help them get in there now and really optimize their health so that they can live a really long, healthy, amazing life and just feel the absolute best that they could for a really long time.
Yeah, and I think that's really valuable. It's one of the things that's always my goal with my channel and with what I share with people, that if you can actually start your journey before you had the train wreck of health,
Oh,
it's, I think, so much easier to untangle. So if you can start with some simple things that you might not even be aware are off balance, such as some of the things that we're going to talk about today, it could be so much easier. So for instance, had I done things proactively before I, became ill with some complex health issues, I think it could have been a lot easier to untangle and back out of. But once you're in the train wreck and you're trying to pick things up, I think it's a lot harder. So I always try to inspire people to value and take care of their health before they have the known issues.
Yes, prevention is so much easier than letting things get really bad and then trying to cure them and fix them.
Yeah, I think so as well. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk, to you about today is that we've been speaking about different, I refer people to Kristen all the time because I am such a huge fan of what she does. It's not because I get anything from it. It's because I just get excited to have someone to refer that can really help people. And I do not try to be a practitioner, as it would not be good. So I always refer out to someone that knows, like Kristen, because people do ask me a lot of complex problems. And honestly, if I knew the answer to them, then I would have made myself completely better on my own. So it's important to have a great practitioner and not to be guessing at these things. So one of the things that I speak to people a lot with patches is that, so if anybody doesn't know, I actually am a Lifewave brand distributor, and I do help people choose patches that are helpful for them. That said, one thing that I think many folks are unaware of is how important proper mineralization is, and how important it is to know, it's just my dog playing with his squeaky in the background, how important it is to know what's actually going on with your body, because if your minerals are off balance, so many things could be happening that, we're not aware of. So today, Kristen was going to talk a little bit about a very simple, helpful service where she does testing. I believe it's called HTMA testing, but I
Mhm.
really wanted Kristen to explain it because I think it's so much better if it comes from the source, just so people know that this is something that's out there that they can do, where they don't have to get into, a huge, tons and tons of appointments and thousands of dollars. There's a simple way to start and assess your health.
Yeah. And we are loving using the HTMA lately because, like you said, it is so simple. It's so easy. It's a hair test. So I think the hardest part is you got to cut close to the scalp. So people
Mhm.
are a little sad about throwing the hair away, but because you throw out the bottom part, we just want to see what is coming out right at your scalp. And that's going to show us over the past couple months, what is that mineral balance in your body? Because our minerals come out through our hair. And so we can see levels of everything from calcium to magnesium and sodium and potassium and copper and iron. We also get to see on there a toxic elements side. So if someone has been exposed to lead, arsenic, uranium, that's going to show up in their hair potentially as well. And so we get to, again, spot things preventatively if maybe there's just a few little mineral imbalances that we can get in there and tweak, and that's going to really optimize their health.
Right.
Or we can spot problems if we're seeing some of these toxic elements show up. And I tell people to think of minerals like spark plugs in the body. It
Mhm.
gets everything to work. Like you can't transport iron without the right mineral balance in the body. And everything has a very delicate balance. If your zinc is too high, that's going to push copper out. Well, we need copper to prevent fungal infections. If your copper is too high, that's going to push zinc out. And so we're going to experience all of these other downstream effects and issues. Eventually, the worse things get if we're not getting in there early from these little micro mineral imbalances. And I see a lot of mineral imbalances today for a lot of different reasons, but one that impacts everyone. You can be the healthiest person, you can eat super healthy, but this will still impact you. Our soil is really deficient now in the US in particular, due to monocrop farming and over farming in minerals. So we get minerals from plants. We can't make essential minerals in the human body. We have to eat it. But if we're eating a plant and it's really low in the plant because it's low in the soil, so it's not pulling it up, well, then we're going to end up with mineral deficiencies. So this is why I see this becoming such a valuable tool where you can just get in and see, okay, I've been doing a pretty good job, but I'm still low in zinc. So now I know I need to eat more oysters, or I'm still low in this and I know I need to eat more of that, or get it from supplements, food, things like that.
Yes, instead of just blindly supplementing and saying, I
Mhm.
might be deficient in copper, when you actually could have too much copper in your body,
Yes.
depending on what's going on with it. So
Mhm.
really doing things customized for your body, really a bespoke plan just for you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Exactly.
which I think is really important. I mean, this is probably a very broad question, but what are some of the things that, you know, people could benefit from with more benefits, with more balanced rather, vitamins and minerals and things like that?
Yeah. So many things. Since it's the spark plug to like everything in your body. We see constipation and digestive function very much impacted by mineral imbalance. If your sodium is too low, you don't have the building blocks to make hydrochloric acid. Acid is really important in your stomach to break down your food. If you're not breaking down your food, you're not absorbing the nutrients from your food. If you're not absorbing the nutrients from your food, you might end up with thyroid dysfunction because you don't have enough selenium, even though maybe you ate the Brazil nuts, but you didn't break them down. And so it's just this whole like domino effect that we see. So constipation, digestion, hair is really big for minerals, skin, nails, um, headaches, fatigue, heartburn, vertigo, leg swelling. I had a client recently where she's young, she's healthy, she's thin, she's fit. She has really
Right.
swollen legs and ankles all the time, and she didn't know why. We ran her HTMA, and her sodium and potassium balance were completely bananas and just totally out of whack.
Yeah.
And so we're now able to design custom supplementation for her to bring that back into balance. And she's already seeing a reduction in the swelling. And it was something that never crossed her mind before. You know, she thought, well, and she went to the doctor and they said, put on compression socks. Great, but
Right.
why? Why does she need the compression socks? And nobody looked deeper. And the mineral test can do that. Blood sugar dysregulation is another thing that's impacted by mineral balance. Osteoporosis is also huge because minerals are in the bones. It's not just calcium. We have all of these different minerals in our bones. So it really can impact so many areas of the body. And thyroid, if I didn't say thyroid yet, thyroid function is largely impacted by mineral balance as
Yeah.
well.
So checking your minerals, it's almost, I mean, I guess if, I always like to use the car analogy. If, I mean, say you think of a car and you need oil for your car, right? We change our oil. Well, what if there's an oil leak and all of the oil has leaked out? Your car is going to run into so many problems. And our bodies are really no different, right? They need that attention and they need a tune-up. But we often assume that if things, like say we get our regular labs done every year and they seem like, for instance, mine still looked pretty good and I was feeling really bad. So this is really that deeper examination of just figuring out that we might just need to do something really simple to make things, you know, maybe we just need to add like copper could be the oil that you need to add back into your body and then it starts running really differently or whatever it might be, for example.
Yep. I love that. And I love that you said that, you know, sometimes labs look normal, but there might be another problem. And I tell people that it's not that that lab was necessarily wrong, but let's say your boat is sinking and there's water in the boat and the doctor just looks at the front of the boat and they're like, well, there's no hole there. So therefore there's no problem in your boat. I don't know why the water's coming in, just bail it out. But if the hole was in the back, it wasn't that it's wrong that there's no hole in the front. That was correct. There was no hole in the front of the boat, but there's a hole in the back of the boat. And you won't know that unless you turned around and looked in the back of the boat. So these like functional labs where we're looking at the HTMA or a Dutch hormone analysis or GI-MAP stool test or some of these things that more functionally minded practitioners will run are looking at a lot of different places of the boat than maybe your doctor with their CBC, CMP, vitamin D. Those are valuable tests, but they're only looking at one little part of the boat. They might miss that leak that's in the back that's causing all the water to come into the boat.
Yes, I think so. And I also just want to add that I know originally when I started having some health issues, I did go to my doctor and it wasn't identified. And it actually almost felt like he was saying that it's just a part of aging and we just don't feel well. And people often have those symptoms. And just from my perspective, I believe that we are meant to feel well even as we age. And I believe that many of the symptoms that we have as we age are not normal aging. I think people are running into issues that perhaps could be changed so that we could have a higher quality of life from, you know, from birth to death, whenever that is, instead of our health burning out at, like, let's say in my case, age 47. It doesn't have to, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Not with
I
every.
100% agree. Yeah. And 40s is when doctors start to just pin everything on age. Oh, you're tired because of your age and your hair's falling out because of your age. And oh, it's normal because of your age. But I agree with you. It doesn't have to be that way. We can optimize our health and we can feel good forever.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to encourage anyone, you know, if you feel that something is off in your health, just because it hasn't been identified, to find someone like Kristen that's going to look harder for you. Because it's, if you know that something changed and you know your body, and so if you feel something, trust that feeling. And you may not know what's wrong with you, but that's where you need someone like Kristen that's going to, she's going to look at your, your lab. She's going to look at you as if she's Nancy Drew, and she needs to solve the mystery of why you're not feeling like yourself. Because for most folks, I think there is usually a way to get them back to running a little bit smoothly with oil in the car. And that's really, really important. And I just want to add as well that, so for the patches that we're talking about, which they increase your GHK Cu copper peptide, you need copper for that. So if you're deficient in copper, like many people are, you could try the patches and say, I don't think they're working that well. And maybe they're not working that well because if you don't have those basic minerals, the patches can't, I mean, they're not magic. They can't make minerals in a body that doesn't have them. They can't find copper. And if anything, this is, I think that if they're using your copper, you may need to keep an eye on your copper to make sure that you continue to have an adequate supply. So I know for me, I will be testing these things more than once because that's my way of ensuring that my body continues to run smoothly. I have a question going back to the test as well. If someone does a hair test, is it important that they have not colored their hair on the hair that they're testing? Does it need to be what, I was in the hair industry, does it need to be what we would call virgin or untreated hair?
Yes, that is the goal, is to have it be untreated hair, because those hair dyes are going to deposit some minerals and potentially toxic elements into the hair. And then you're looking at that in the report going, oh, that's my body. No, it's just on the surface of your hair. So we want it to be virgin hair. So I tell people, just grow it out for a little bit, get it like, right before you're getting your hair colored. That's when
Yeah.
you're going to do your test, when you have as much grow out as possible. And you're just doing that sample again right next to the root. So you're getting that virgin hair.
And just as a hairstylist or a retired hairstylist, what I might suggest, if ladies must color their hair and you just cannot go for, let's say, 8 weeks or whatever it would be to get the proper, I think it's about an inch of growth, but I'm not sure,
Yep.
then you could consider doing what I would say is almost a fake front. And you could color this part. You could even cover the very top and just leave the back. So create it so your hair will fall over what you haven't colored, just for those people that might not take the test and, because of the not wanting to have, if they're coloring their white hair. So
Yeah,
just an option as
that's a
well.
great recommendation. I love that.
As long as I think one thing that we could also add is, so maybe talking about what comes with this test would be really great, just so people know, just a little layout of about how much time to expect for results and what they could do to, address what they find afterwards, what you have the capabilities to do.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's really important to me. And in the beginning, when I talk about my mission, empower, educate, help people find the root cause. So it's really important to me that people are given the full picture of something and not just, here's your test result. Good
Yeah.
luck with that. And then you're kind of wandering around going, I think my sodium is low. Maybe I should just take a bunch of sodium. Mineral balancing is not like that. It's not as easy as just this is high and this is low, and we're going to change it, because again, all of the different minerals impact each other. So within the Htma package that we run through my practice, there are 2 appointments included in that. And there's a custom designed protocol. Now that protocol is going to go into dietary recommendations, supplement recommendations, lifestyle recommendations. And to lay out kind of the whole package, what we do first is meet with you for an intake call, because it's another really important piece here is that we want to look at you as a whole person, not just this one test result. We want to know, are you having gut issues? Do you have digestive issues? If so, we're going to be able to tie that together for you when we see your HTMA come back and we say, oh, you are low in sodium. That's probably why you have GI upset. You're low in HCl. And, we can really give you this full picture view, but we need that intake from you to be able to do that. So we start off with an intake appointment. We call it a meet and greet. So we sit down and learn more about you, your symptoms, your health history, your goals, things like that. And then we send you the hair kit. You just do it at your house, pretty easy. Again, just cutting, your scalp wherever it's not
Mhm.
colored. You mail that back. The results take generally a couple weeks, so it's pretty fast. Again, in the realm of functional testing, that is fast. Usually some of the other ones take like months. So a couple weeks, the results come back, and then that's when we do that second appointment. And that's when we get to really have a lot of fun and pull it all together for you and show you why you've been feeling the way you've been feeling. How can you reverse engineer that and get out of feeling that way? And then from the supplementation standpoint, there's a couple different options. We love food first, so we're always going to tell you what foods to eat to help with that mineral balance. But sometimes, again, it's hard with food if the soil is deficient. So we'll make some supplement recommendations as well. And we can either give supplement recommendations where you can get it on Full Script or Whole Foods or something with some high quality supplements,
Mhm.
or I have mine to show you. We can
Mhm.
do custom blends. So this is my custom blend here.
Okay.
And so this was custom designed exactly for my HTMA and
Yes.
nobody else's. So this is just for me. And so I only have one thing that I have to take. So it makes it really easy. I have to take, a good handful of them a day, which is why the bottle's so big, because they're fitting all of these different minerals into one capsule. So then you take multiple capsules a day, but it just makes it really simple to have like one-stop shopping for that. So that's an option too, that we can also help you design your custom blend. If you don't want to be taking different supplements, we can do that as well.
But I think that's such a cool option. And now, say you find that someone has some sort of a toxic element or something present, what would be the potential ways of handling that? Or would they be getting a different kind of appointment to do that if that were the case? I know that I've had one of those tests before, and I did have something that was quite high. So I'm just curious, what would you do, in the case of someone that has something like that?
Yeah, great question. And that's another thing I love about the HTMA is for some people, if they're just optimizing their health, we don't find anything crazy. It's like one and done. They feel amazing after they're on their way. But for other people, it gives us next steps and directions. And one of those things might be toxins. So if we see toxins really high, then that's at that appointment where we talk through where could this be coming from and what's our next step to investigate it. So if they're showing up really high in lead and they're in an older house that might have lead pipes, then we're going to say, you might want to test your water. And then we can also do urine testing if they want to go on and book maybe another appointment, do another testing package of some sort, or do a more comprehensive package where we just come on board and we do all the things. There is a really great toxin panel that we love that's a urine test that looks for I want to say there's maybe like 50 different toxins that we can evaluate in that to see what else is in your body. Where might this be coming from? If arsenic is really high and we find out you eat a ton of rice, we're going to talk to you about getting it from a different source than because rice from Asia is higher in arsenic than California. We're going to talk to you about washing the rice, things like that. So we do get some really great ideas and next steps to advise you on. And if you need more testing and you need to go deeper, then we can do that with you as well.
That's such a great service. And I just wanted to point out, so the way that I found Kristen was through a really, really smart friend that recommended her to me. And she also, this is a different service, but if you're entering in a different way and you're really having so many health issues, as was my case, I did a discovery call with Kristen where we just got to talk about, what was going on, different symptoms, and then from there she gave me some possibilities of ways that she could, help me. And there really, what I wanted to point out was that there was absolutely no pressure to work with Kristen. It was really just informative. And after that call, I felt so heard and understood that I really wanted to work with her because that was what I needed. I was trying to get some things across about my health to some other folks that I was working with, and I felt like they weren't quite, it wasn't resonating with them, and it was feeling like it was a situation. So just from a personal perspective, I wanted to say that that's where I found my passion for working with Kristen and why I've recommended her to so many people. It's like, I think this is a great option. For instance, what I wanted to point out is that my mom is wearing a certain patch by Lifewave. She's wearing the X49, and I've got some goals in mind, that some things that I'm hoping it's going to help her with. I'm actually hoping it's going to help her with her bone density. However, my mother doesn't have a great diet. She loves ginger ale, Nature's Valley, granola bars, saltines, and she doesn't eat enough protein. So I know that Margot is going to be mineral deficient. There's no way that she will have a proper balance. So that was really how this conversation came about. I wanted something simple for my mom, who I knew was not going to go through, one appointment every month with Kristen and do all the things. It will be great just to get her on that one supplement and have a custom formulated thing. So it's great for people that are willing to change some things. They may not do all the things, but I think even just improving one part of your health, as in your mineralization, I think can change quite a bit. So it's really important service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to add about the service or your practice? Just anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share as well?
I think you did a great job, and I just so appreciate you sharing, and it's been so fun to get to know you and to see like your heart for helping people. And I think we have such a shared mission for wanting to really help people and help empower them to take back their health and not have to walk around feeling like, oh, I'm just old, or it's just this, it's just that. Like there's things that we can do about it. So I love that we have that shared mission of
I
empowering people.
agree. I agree. We have both experienced. I'm still moving through my health challenges, and fortunately, Kristen has moved through hers. But it is a passion for me after experiencing this to do my best to protect people from losing their health whenever possible. And if they do, just to let them know that there are options, because I truly didn't know that functional health existed. And I didn't know the level of labs and things like that. It's great to know if you can find out what you have too much of in your body and too little of, then you have a really excellent chance of feeling like yourself again. And there's no expensive bag or clothing or fancy car that's as important as your physical body. I mean, it's like people will say they don't have the money to take care of their health, but I would, and I do, I walk around in sweat clothes, and I'd rather spend the money on appointments and see the changes. So I think it's really vital. So thank you so much for coming on today. I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing about this. I just wanted to let everyone know that I will be linking. So please look in the description. It is Kristen Blake Wellness if you want to look it up. She's got a fantastic Instagram. If you're on Instagram, watch her stories. You will learn so much. You'll probably want to just answer the stories all the time, and then she's going to be I answer her stories. They're so good. But I will be dropping the details in here. And, I would definitely say that if you're looking for something like this, in my mind, there's no one better that wants to see you well more than Kristen. She has a real heart for this. So I hope this was helpful to everyone, and I hope you stay healthy and beautiful. And look in that description and visit Kristen's link, follow her on Instagram, and I will see everybody soon. And thank you so much for joining us, Kristen.
Thank you.
And then I will stop the recording. And